Hi, I'm Vivek. I'm one of the co-founders of SentiSum.
Hi, I'm Sharad, also co-founder at SentiSum.
So, Sharad, voice of customer is a topic, has been around for a while.
Yeah,
People keep talking about outstanding customer experience no matter which conference we go to.
yeah,
But something still seems broken.
yeah.
Why?
I mean, Vivek, we have been to so many of these brand meetings where we are invited to present our solution, and we still hear the same common themes. First, execs are frustrated looking at the same presentations every Monday, looking at the same NPS scores, still wondering why their NPS has gone down, why their retention has gone down, still not able to answer what their product team should be focusing on, what their ops team should be focusing on. I think this is the real gap, not having hundreds of dashboards and looking at the same metrics every Monday.
It completely resonates, and having spent nearly 2 decades on the other side, I feel like there's no shortage of platforms and dashboards. Right? But what is still missing is teams finding a way to collaborate with each other, finding platforms that allow them to talk to the same data and the insights and then act upon it in a much more timely manner.
Absolutely.
So what is our approach? How is our approach different in the market?
Our approach is different in the sense that we are not obsessed about those lagging metrics or dashboards or tools. We are obsessed by just one thing, which is putting customers at the heart of everything. And how are we planning to do it is basically give our users and brands almost like a second brain that obsesses about your customers, because it is listening to every single conversation on channels like your social media, your surveys, your contact center, even forums like Reddit and other similar forums, and exactly telling you what are your consumers talking about, what they like about your experience or what is broken, and then tells you what you should be fixing. So I think that is the different approach we are taking. Unlike most tools, we are not telling you what. We already know that what is broken. We are telling you why something is broken and why you should fix it now.
It resonates so much, and I wish I had a platform like this back in my days in retail and brands, where I would get my sales data broken up by every slice and dice in the morning in terms of share growth, declines, etc. But then when I ask a simple question, but why is it happening and what should I do about this, you would see teams scramble away to create decks and stuff, and some days later, by which time the consumers have already left us or have moved on to another brand, we would get some hindsight analysis. And this ability to almost every morning wake up to say, how are my consumers feeling over the last 48 hours? I've had this product launch. What are the real actions, and how should I prioritize the noise to real tangible actions that will move the needle, is something that is still a hard problem to solve.
Still a problem, exactly.
So in our journey, I mean, we've had some great customers who've been with us on the journey and continue to with us on the journey. Are there any memorable stories that, there are many, I'm sure, but can you think of one or two memorable stories to share?
Yeah, there are so many, and that's I would say the most beautiful part of being part of this journey, when your customers tell you the value they got as a result of our tool. So many, but one I can think of is one of our very early customers basically telling you that, Sharad, your tool helped us flag a very core ingredient issue in our product, and being in the food and beverages industry, it could be devastating. Basically, the escalations could shoot up so quickly, and the fact that tool told them about the problem before their own customer care agents or any other tool can tell them, it's just to bring smile to your face that yes, we are doing something right.
And I also remember this story which came to life in the last 6 months of this global FMCG company, which has, again, no shortage of platforms and tools. But the consumer care team actually found some really interesting insights that they said, look, we need to bring the product team in, the brand team, the e-com team, and all of a sudden, for the first time, they were actually talking to each other against a common set of data. And then there was some real interesting feedback on the back of a product launch that went straight to global R&D. And they were able to act on it much sooner than they would have done in the world before SentiSum.
Absolutely. And actually, just before the shoot, our team, they were with one of our customers, and they told them that during weekends they had an outage, and their CEO asked them, what is the problem and why it's happening. And our champion told them that within 7 minutes, he was able to actually take out the laptop, show exactly what the problem is, why the problem is, and how big the problem is. That's the value of a tool like SentiSum. Like within minutes, you're able to answer to your CEO.
Yeah.
And you know it. You live this life where team will be scrambling basically for hours and what to do, what to answer, bring PowerPoints. But here you take a tool in front of you and says, hey, look here, actually this is the problem, we need to fix this now.
And just in the world of retailers where these key trading periods like Black Friday and Christmas are so critical, and the value of in the moment insights that can percolate to the right teams to take action is gold dust for particularly when your entire sales of the year are made or broken in those critical weeks. So today, if you were to give advice to an enterprise on how to approach this critical question of fixing consumer experience and building the brand for tomorrow, what 2 or 3 pieces of advice would you give him or her?
Yeah, I think first advice would be stop obsessing about KPIs. I feel, especially in enterprises, every team is obsessed about their KPIs. For one team, it may be NPS, other team, it may be CSAT, for some other team, it would be retention. But in reality, if you have to obsess, you should obsess about your customers, which means you need to listen to them where they are basically coming and give you feedback. On your contact center, on your surveys, on your social, on your forums, just listen. Change the way you listen to your customers. Like move away from those kind of mindless surveys where the completion rate is 2%, 3%. You already have this goldmine of insights hidden in all these signals customers have given you. So I think that's would be kind of my one big message. Please stop the way you're listening to your customers. It's 2025.
It's so true, Sharad. I mean, I still struggle to understand why companies spend huge amounts of money, to be honest, and time to have these set-piece NPS surveys being reported to the boards. And I do understand the simplicity of it. Sometimes it's helpful to use a very simple measure to monitor progress. But frankly, what you really want to understand is what's really happening. There's a real desire for companies, who have a mission of consumer first, to get into a habit of listening to customers more regularly. And the way to do that is present them the way these insights and in the simplest possible way in places where they access their information on a daily basis, whether it's as a feed on a weekly email on a Monday morning, or maybe they're using Copilot, it just surfaces through that, or whatever the form factor is. And I understand why executives won't want to log into a dashboard, but the new world is just like I use my ChatGPT to ask also. I just want my personal assistant in the world of consumer insights to just be able to chat with me and tell me what's happening and in simple English, so that I can take actions, I can bring teams together. That's what you need as a leader, not wait for a set-piece presentation 3 months down the line and having spent a few $100,000.
Absolutely.
So as we think about the journey ahead, I still feel brands struggle to find who to trust in this very noisy world right now. Everyone is an AI first company, and they're trying to figure out how do we partner with someone who can really take us on this journey, right? Even if, provided they understand and recognize the problem that we're trying to solve. So in that sense, how is our approach different in how we execute?
Yeah, I think the problem we are solving for is very unique to every business we work with, right? Because every business's customer experience strategy is different, their products are different, which means you cannot take a generic product or a generic AI, or if I have to go a bit more technical, take a generic machine learning model and apply it to all your customers with the hope that it's going to give them the insights they can act on. It can give you very surface level insights, like yes, you have return issues or you have delayed delivery issues, but they already know it. Right? What you need is basically a tool which we call second brain. A second brain that is basically obsessed about your customers, your business. It understands your processes, your policies in and out, and then it contextualizes and tells you actually you should be fixing this problem, because if you don't fix, this is the impact. So that's what we are doing. That's how we are doing it differently versus giving you a generic AI solution to track metrics.
And it's very evident in the feedback we're getting from customers on the quality of the insights that get them to a place very quickly where they can trust the insights to take action on, which is key. And And this ultimately, as you said, a lot of tools are offering generic models, etc. But the magic sauce lies when you take the AI smarts. I genuinely believe that we've been on this journey longer than before AI was fashionable. The application of that to proprietary data and then combining with domain expertise is where the magic sauce lies, to be able to then get very quickly to a place where you can trust the insights to take action, close the loop, and really make a material difference on the customer
because
experience.
any insight is useless if you cannot act on it, and that's what most tools give you, just data disguised as insights, which is useless for most teams.
So Sharad, I noticed like on your LinkedIn banner, you talk about paying 1000x better than Qualtrics. What do you mean by that?
It's simple. First of all, I have a huge respect for Qualtrics, what they've achieved. They set the standards for voice of customer in the last decade or more. But my take is simple. They are dinosaurs. I don't think that approach to voice of customer is relevant in 2025 and beyond. Hence, the businesses, the teams deserve at least a 10x solution, 10x better solution, if not 100x. And that's my vision, that's my ambition, to give these brands and our customers a tool which they can use in 2025 and beyond.
So, in conclusion, right, if we think about the journey ahead for SentiSum, what are you most looking forward to?
Looking at SentiSum being that enterprise-wide engine that empowers different teams to stay together, to fix things that matter the most in the moment, so that you can basically realize your vision of building tomorrow's brand. That's my obsession, that's my vision.
That's a lot to look forward to.